Hello, welcome dear parents and NDA aspirants. Now, my name is Lieutenant Colonel Ganesh Babu. I was a group testing officer with 21 SSB Bhopal and 11 SSB Allahabad. Post retirement, I have been providing training for the Service Selection Board interview, and some of you would have watched my videos on the YouTube by the name AFOSOP. If you have not already subscribed it, I'll request you to subscribe it and watch more than 450 plus videos on the Service Selection Board interview. Now behind me is the National Defence Academy, which is located at Khadakwasla, Pune, and many of you boys and girls must be an aspirant to join the National Defence Academy and become officers in the Indian Armed Forces, that is Army, Navy and Air Force. Now those of you who are aspirants for NDA, you know the NDA examination is conducted twice in a year, April and September. The next year's dates are as follows: 12th April 2026 NDA 1 and NDA 2 on 14th September 2026. And both male and female candidates are eligible for the same, and age bracket is from 16.5 to 19.5 years, right? Now you understand that almost about 6 lakh plus candidates appear for the NDA written, whereas the final vacancy is only about 400 plus. And the entire SSB ka journey is not so easy as it appears, and most people, even though they want to go into the SSB, but they don't clear the written examination, and if they clear the written, they don't clear the Service Selection Board interview, and if in case if both that happens, they don't make it in the final merit. So there are a lot of challenges. So it is like a train journey, a journey from Pune to Nagpur. So you must know where are you starting from, which are the intermediate stations, and by when you should reach the final destination, that is Nagpur. And in a broad sense, to understand the journey of NDA, there are two major parts to it. The first part is to clear the UPSC NDA written examination, and once you do that, then a major challenge and a bigger challenge is to clear the Services Selection Board interview, which is a personality based selection. Now unless you have a long term and clear strategy to prepare for both in the given time frame, you will not likely to make it because of the competition level and the number of candidates who are appearing. So through this video, I'll give you a timeline as what needs to be done, and to a basic question, that is how to prepare for the NDA examination, both the written as well as the SSB. I'll give a roadmap for this, right? Now to use this, I'll use the Vande Bharat example only. So begin with the end in mind. You must know where is the beginning, for example Pune, where is the end Nagpur, in between what are the major stations and by what time frame you must reach there. इसी फिलॉसफी के ऊपर हम पूरी एनडीए की जर्नी को मॉडल करेंगे. सो बिगिन विद द एंड इन माइंड. सो टू स्टार्ट विथ, let's start the journey of our NDA from your present position. Let us take you are currently in your 10th standard, that is you will be giving your 10th examination, thereafter you will join 11th, 12th, and you must be preparing for the NDA written and the Service Selection Board. So we'll start the journey from your current position, that is, let us take that you are in 10th standard and your end is to become officer, Army, Navy, Air Force through National Defence Academy. So that's a journey. So 10th standard is a Pune, and the stars on your shoulder is the Nagpur station. So let's see what are the intermediate stations. So there are multiple stations in between which you'll have to cross before you're able to achieve this final goal of becoming officer in the Indian Armed Forces. So begin with the end in mind. So the first thing is, after you clear your 10th standard, you have to join some institute or some school for doing your 11th and 12th. So you join that with the intention that along with your 11th and 12th, you wish to prepare for the NDA also and the SSB, so that you make it in the first attempt itself, both clearing the written and the SSB interview. And then you also prepare for the UPSC NDA written, which will be, anyway told you, will be conducted in April and September. And in case if you are not able to make it through the UPSC, you will come back to your start point. That means you'll have to again prepare for the UPSC examination and reappear in the next attempt wherever it is, right? So you have to clear the NDA written, and also along with the NDA written, you should also clear your 12th standard. ऐसा ना हो जाए कि you have cleared the NDA written, you cleared the SSB, but you did not clear the 12th standard, in that case again you will come back to the original start point. So let us take that you clear the NDA UPSC written examination, and 12th of course you will clear it. And now once you clear the UPSC, the journey for the SSB starts. So here on the SSB journey starts. So one question is, what does clearing the NDA written means? क्या NDA written clear कर दिया तो आपका SSB में हो जाना guaranteed है, या आप किसी डिफेंस कैरियर या किसी आर्म फोर्सेस इंस्टीट्यूट में ज्वाइन कर लिया या सैनिक स्कूल में ज्वाइन कर लिया? डज इट मीन दैट सिंस यू हैव क्लियर्ड एनडीए रिटर्न, will it mean that you will be clearing SSB also and joining the NDA? The answer is no. So what does clearing NDA written means? Clearing NDA written only means that you will get a ticket which will allow you to go to the service selection board interview. But that ticket will only give you an entry into the service selection board. But what you do in the service selection board is important, which will decide whether you are going to finally get recommended or not. So this is only an entry ticket and will take you to the services selection board interview. Invariably, after clearing the NDA written, you will get about 1.5 to 2 months average time, sometimes little up and down, and you have to go for the service selection board interview. So NDA written will only give you a ticket to go to the service selection board interview, but your performance on the service selection board interview will determine whether you're going to make it through it or not. So with that as the now here on, once you clear the UPSC written, next tests are part of the service selection board interview. It's completely different from what you prepared for the NDA written, which is an academic test. So first thing that happens is the stage 1 testing or the screening test. Almost 70% candidates go back on the first day itself. The reasons for that we'll see in the subsequent video. Assuming that you clear the stage 1 of the SSB, you go to the main SSB, which is the stage 2 SSB, and there are 3 tests. First is the psychological test, TAT, WAT, SRT and SD. We'll see what are those things separately. There are the group testing, which is consisting of 9 tasks, GD, GP and all those things we'll see बाद में. And then the personal interview conducted by a Major General, Brigadier or a Colonel equivalent officer in the Army, Navy, Air Force. So these are the 3 tests in the SSB: psychological test, group testing and personal interview. And on the last day you will have the board conference where the decision will be taken to clear a candidate, that is to recommend a candidate or not to recommend a candidate. In case if you don't get recommended, you again go back and you have to start preparing from the NDA written again. Even if you cleared it for the first time, you'll have to again write. Now assuming you clear the board exam, you are recommended by the SSB, then you go for the medical examination, and there is a probability that some of you may not make it through the medical also. You may get medical conference out. In that case again you come back and appear for the NDA written again, in case your age permits. If you're cleared by the medical, then you have the combined merit list. The combined merit list matlab the performance in the NDA written examination of the UPSC and the performance at the SSB, both will be clubbed together to make the final merit. And if you don't make it in the final merit, you will not get a call letter from the National Defence Academy. You'll again go back and you have to appear for the NDA written again. If you make it, you go to the NDA and get trained there for 3 years, and there is a probability that in NDA also you may get boarded out, medical boarded out, discipline case or some other stress fracture or some injury, or not able to cope with training or failing in academics. There may be multiple reasons because of which you may even have a probability of coming out of the NDA if you don't perform well. Once you do that, you go to the Indian Military Academy, Indian Naval Academy and Indian Air Force Academy for the final 1-year training, depending upon which stream you have chosen. And in the final 1-year training period also, there is a probability that you may get injured, discipline problem or something else, and you will come back. So that probability is always there. And then finally you are passed out, and only once you step on the Antim Pad, you achieve your goal. So this is the entire journey for your National Defence Academy. It is not just focusing on written. It is not simply clearing the NDA apna SSB interview or clearing the medical. It is also the training at the NDA, the training at the IMA, Air Force Academy or the Naval Academy and finally getting passed out, only then you will achieve your aim. Anywhere in between, अगर आपकी गाड़ी अटक जाती है, you will have problem. So this flow chart, I hope it makes sense to you. So clearing the NDA written should not be your objective. It will only give you a ticket to go to the service selection board. Your aim should be to clear that also and go to the NDA and finish your training for 3 years. Go to the IMA, Naval Academy, Air Force Academy for the final 1 year and then pass out from the that academy. Only then you achieve your dream. Anywhere in between, your journey will be midway, right? With that as a backdrop, once you are able to complete all this, then you achieve the aim of becoming an officer through the National Defense Academy. Only clearing the NDA written is not going to make it. I hope this is clear. So do not focus only on clearing the NDA written examination, which is only giving you a ticket to go to the service selection board interview. Your preparation has to expand beyond the scope of NDA written. Now that's a major flaw. So if you see, there are clearly two parts to your entire training. The first part is the academic test, which is conducted by the UPSC, which will be maths, physics, chemistry, biology and all that. And once you clear that, then a major and a difficult challenge comes, which is the service selection board interview. And this interview ka preparation cannot happen after you clear your NDA written. This has to be understood because this is a personality based selection. The earlier was an academic test, maths, physics, chemistry. The next one, SSB interview, is not an academic test. It is a personality based selection. In the subsequent videos, I'll elaborate what does this mean in case if I get adequate comment for this video. Now, what a big tragedy is, there are so many institutions who claim that we will give you Vision 60, defense carrier, armed forces and all those stuff, where they charge you 5 lakhs to 6 lakh rupees and the entire focus is on clearing the NDA written. And unfortunately, there also the results are not there. And they spend almost 1.5 years, 1.5 years to 2 years only in the name of NDA written. And in case if you get cleared, then you realize that nothing on the SSB part was covered by them because neither they have the expertise nor it is communicated. The entire focus is on clearing the NDA written. So personality development, leadership development, orientation to the SSB requirement, this is completely ignored. And you spend 6 lakh, 5 lakhs to 6 lakh rupees, not realizing that इतना पैसा देके आपको 11th and 12th करवा देंगे और एनडीए के रिटर्न के नाम से मैथ्स फिजिक्स में चढ़ा के रख देंगे एंड उसमें भी अगर रिजल्ट नहीं आया तो इट्स गोइंग टू बी डिजास्टर. और अगर इन केस इफ यू मेक इट थ्रू द एनडीए रिटर्न, in case you make it through the NDA written and you get a ticket to go to the SSB interview, then you realize the coaching center whom you paid this 5 lakhs to 6 lakh rupees, they do not have the infrastructure and the capability to train you for the further module, that is the leadership and personality development and preparing for the SSB interview. They will ask you to go to any other coaching center, so you spend another 50,000 to 60,000 rupees and you spend this to train for the service selection board interview. And the conventional model right now available in the country is 14 days. And this 14 days, now you cannot be developed on your leadership and personality on 14 days. This should have been done as part of your 1.5 to 2 years stay during the in the coaching center, but there they focus only on the physical development. PT drill कराते रह गए और रिटर्न में चढ़ा दिया. They never touched this. Now you spend another 50-60,000 rupees going there, traveling, stay and all those things, and you go through a 14 days model and there they give you tips and tricks to crack the SSB interview. They will give you amazing expert tips to write self-description. They will give you 30 TAT story. They will give you 60 WAT, 60 SRT. Complete manipulation. What is required is personality development. What you get is personality manipulation. I hope you understand. And you pay additional. Because first 6 lakh, now you realize they were only taken the money 6 lakh for return. उनका एसएसबी से तो कोई कनेक्शन ना उन्हें खुद पता है ना उनके पास कोई इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. दैट्स चीटिंग. नाउ दिस इज अ लेटर फ्रॉम सैनिक स्कूल चित्तौड़गढ़ का प्रिंसिपल का है। इनका पैरा 2 में लिखा हुआ है, क्लियरिंग द एनडीए रिटन एग्जामिनेशन इज रिलेटिवली इजी फॉर आवर cadets, but very few qualify the SSB primarily for lack of proper orientation. This is in spite of training at various private coaching academies that tend to do more harm than good. Those who want, I'll share you this लेटर अगर आप मुझे कांटेक्ट करोगे. सो 14 डेज का जो कन्वेंशनल एसएसबी कोचिंग विच इज बेस्ड ऑन पर्सनालिटी मैनिपुलेशन बिकम्स काउंटर प्रोडक्टिव, बिकॉज आपने पहले 2 साल तो रिटर्न में घुस गए, उसके बाद एडिशनल पैसा देके किसी कोचिंग में चला गया, उन्होंने आपको टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स दे दिया, बिकॉज 14 दिन में तो डेवलप ही नहीं कर सकते, और ये बहुत बुरी तरह से ये धंधा चल रहा है. So सवाल है, why have you chosen a coaching center who are charging you 5 lakhs to 6 lakh rupees and only putting you through written examination, not preparing you for the service selection board interview, which is a leadership and personality development process or selection based on personality. So ये आपको सवाल पूछना पड़ेगा और आप अपने कोचिंग से पूछना पड़ेगा ये कर रहे हो या नहीं कर रहे हो. नहीं कर रहे हो और आपको एडिशनल पैसा देना, why spend 6 lakh rupees for something that you can get on a much lower cost anywhere else. So please think it over, मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ. Now what needs to be done is, the question is what needs to be done. You have to understand what is currently being happening. You are paying 6 lakh rupees in the name of NDA written examination, where they claim we are defense expert, and then you spend about 2 years with them, and many of you don't make it through the SSB. So your entire money, 6 lakh goes, all you get is a 12th pass certificate for 6 lakh rupees. वो तो आपको 24-25 हज़ार में बाहर सिविल में मिल जाता, किसी एपीएस में, आर्मी पब्लिक स्कूल में मिल जाता, केंद्रीय विद्यालय में मिल जाता. 6 लाख का 12th स्टैंडर्ड. एंड अगर आप में से कोई इक्के दुक्के क्लियर हो जाता है एनडीए रिटर्न, देन यू आर मेड टू पे सेपरेटली अनदर 60,000 to 50,000 टू अनदर सम कोचिंग सेंटर, बिकॉज ओरिजिनली जिन्होंने रिटर्न के नाम से 6 लाख लिए, उन्हें तो एसएसबी के बारे में खुद भी नहीं पता, तो आधे तो सिविलियन है, डिफेंस एक्सपर्ट बोलते हैं बट पता है नहीं. So you spend this. So 6 lakh के ऊपर another 60,000. Why? Because you have to now go for a 14 days coaching for SSB. सवाल ये है, ये 2 साल में इन्होंने क्यों नहीं कराया? And then वहाँ पे जाके टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स देते. टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स क्यों? Because it cannot be developed. वो डेवलप करने के तो लॉन्ग टर्म टाइम चाहिए, और लॉन्ग टर्म में तो आपने रिटर्न में लगा दिया और रिजल्ट नहीं आ रहा. सो यू थिंक कि गोइंग टू द सर्विस सिलेक्शन बोर्ड इंटरव्यू बाय दिस टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स गिवन टू यू बाय a 14 days module, do you think that's the right way to prepare for the SSB interview? My answer is no. My answer is no. So what should you do? What needs to be done? What needs to be done? ये दोनों टेस्ट यूपीएससी एनडीए का रिटर्न जो है, बिल्कुल सही बात है कि योर एसएसबी इज आफ्टर दैट. You go for the service selection board interview after clearing the UPSC. But your preparation for the SSB interview cannot start after clearing the NDA written. इस बात को गांठ बांध लो. So you must look for a coaching center that takes both the NDA written का preparation and the leadership and personality development and SSB का preparation parallel. Why parallel? So that by the time the NDA written का result आए, you are not only clearing the NDA written, you are actually SSB ready. Rest बचा हुआ 1-1.5 जो महीना मिलता है before the SSB interview, you are simply brushing up your concepts and brushing up geopolitics, brushing up current affairs, defense के knowledge को update करना है, but you're already ready because your personality and the various dimensions of it is already developed over the last 1.5 to 2 years. Along with the NDA written, and once you go to the SSB, you simply perform because you're prepared well, you perform well, and since you perform well, you achieve what you want to achieve. Now सवाल है कि ये सब के लिए क्या आपको एक्स्ट्रा कॉस्ट देना 6 लाख के अलावा? नहीं देना. It should be part of the package, and it should, the SSB training should start from the very beginning and not after clearing the NDA written and you are sent somewhere else paying extra money. That model is cheating. समझ में आया तो मुझे बताना. So if you want to ask me which academy does that, there may be many, but one to which I am associated, that is Shiv Defense Academy, which is located at Pune, and here I am the head training, and I'm heading the leadership and personality development and the SSB interview part. What does it mean? That when you go to the SSB interview as a for a 2 years package, not only your academic will be catered for, your leadership and personality development will be starting from the first week itself, and that's a promise, and at no extra cost. You don't have to go outside the academy to some other place, to a third person for a 14 days module. It will not be a 14 days module, it will be a 1.5 to 2 years module. That's a word, and you can take a print of this screen and come and question us why it is not being done. And you can ask others also if they're doing it, and make your choice wisely, right? So what I want to say is, you will be put through two different training modules. One is the academic training, that is 11th, 12th and the NDA written, of course, which will be headed by an academic head. And there will be a separate module complete throughout your year, which will be leadership and personality development, and the orientation to the service selection board interview, which will be headed by me, so that both the portions go parallelly like a 3-leg race, not like a relay race. And by the time you clear your NDA written examination, you are SSB ready. Your SSB preparation will not start from there. You're already SSB ready. The rest 1-2 months that you get is only for brushing up and not starting the entire process of SSB interview. So your performance in the SSB will be a natural consequence because of the long-term preparation. अगर आपको समझ में आया, you can contact the Shiv Defense Academy on these two numbers 755-9130-505 and 8888928931. The email ID is also given. Share this information with your friends so that maximum people benefit. And if you need any clarification, you can contact or WhatsApp on these numbers and we'll get back to you. I hope this entire video has given you some idea about the approach to NDA that you need to take. And do give your feedback and comments on this, and share with your friends. Thank you, and may God bless you. Thank you very much.